All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, better known as Great Millstone. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. And this is going to be part 2 of Revelation chapter 13 breakdown. All right, so if you haven't caught part 1, please go back and watch before watching part 2. Now, before we jump straight into part 2 from verses 11 to 18, I wanted to use this excerpt from the beloved elder from the I think this is the Boston camp, GMS Boston camp, and he done a lesson dealing with the Sons of Thunder camp. All right, breaking down the MOTB. So I thought that I can tie this into Revelation the 13th chapter part 2. All right, because this actually needs to be addressed so that we can get the real understanding. So I'm going to play this video so you guys can hear what these brothers have to say. And Lord willing, you can hear it. Just turn this up a little bit.
Chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads.
It says he causes how many?
So like all.
He causes all, right? So we about to see who this all is. Let's get Revelation 18 and 3.
Chapter 18 and verse 3. And it reads, for all nations.
All who?
All nations.
Keep going.
Have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
So notice it's talking about all nations and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, which is her is the Babylon, America. All right. So let's go back to Revelation. Matter of fact, let's get
or in their foreheads.
So people get confused and think this is individuals. We just read who the all are. They all are not individuals. I'm gonna give you an example right here. It says, and he causes all, both small and great. So ask yourself, what is that small and great? If this is talking about regular individual people, what does the small and great pertain to? It don't pertain to fat and skinny. It don't pertain to tall and short. It don't pertain to money, because the next after the comment it says rich and poor. So what is the small and great? Nations. Small and great nations.
All right, so basically you heard, all right, this Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great. So what they're saying is the all is not referring to individual men, but in actuality is referring to nations. And the precept that they went to was Revelation the 18th chapter, which I don't know why they went to that chapter, because when you deal with it, the context of it is talking about Babylon, which is America, being taken out, is falling off the throne. All right, pursuant to Isaiah 40, the 47th chapter, which is an end time prophecy. Okay. Now, when it talks about all the nations drinking of the wine of her wrath, yeah, because what happened? They all got in bed with America from its philosophies, its way of life. All right. But as the scriptures tells you in Jeremiah the 51st chapter, they shall hate the whore. Okay. For drinking that wrath, let's grab that really quickly. Let's get Jeremiah 51, because these brothers, all right, I don't know what's going on, but all right, that's not it. This is Jeremiah 51. We'll start at 6. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. But here's the point. Verse 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken her wine, therefore the nations are mad. That's the correct precept, or what Revelation 18 and 3 is talking about. That has nothing to do with Revelation 13 and 16. Now, to break it down correctly, picking up for where we left off in part 1, we're going to start at verse 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth and had 2 horns like a lamb. Okay. And he spake as a dragon. All right. Now, this is going into their 2 political parties, such as the Republicans. All right. And the Democrats. And remember, it says here, and it spake as a dragon because, you know, the dragon represents the ancient Roman Empire. And back then, the ancient Roman Empire had that same political system, but it was called the plebeians and the patricians when you look it up. Now, to understand, showing you that America is the revival of the ancient Roman Empire. All right. When you go to First Maccabees, the 8th chapter, or Salakia, I shouldn't say to show you that America is the ancient Roman Empire, but to show you that America, all right, has is the revival of the ancient Roman Empire based off of its laws, its literature, its architecture, its way of life. All right, when you read, let's start at verse 13. It says also, matter of fact, in context, so you guys can understand who it's talking about. At the top at verse 1, it says, now Judas had heard of the Romans. You see that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as were loving, accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of enmity with all that came unto them. Now, a little side note here, all right, because this is before the Edomites took over, so we don't know that during this time when it says the Romans, because the true Romans at that time were your Japhetic people, because remember, they had control. They were in their rightful lands. They had all of Europe. All right. So we don't know if it was Japhets during this time that had this particular political party set up that we're about to read, or if in fact, indeed, it was the Edomites joined, not joined, but it was actually them. All right. Because we do know that the Edomites eventually took over Japhet and pushed them out into their lands. But anyway, drop down to verse 13. It says also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign, and whom again they displaced. Finally, that they were greatly exalted, yet for all this none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple to be magnified thereby. But moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people, to the end that they might be well ordered, and that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over their country. All right. And that all were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy or emulation among them. OK. And today, that same setup we see happening, because you either have what's called a president or a prime minister. All right. And America is at the forefront of that, but also all these other nations. OK, because all these other nations, you see them, they either set themselves up as a republic, OK, or a Democrat. All right. So that's showing you that the beast is speaking. All right. Verse 12, it says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast. All right. Which is the ancient Roman Empire before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein. All right. To do what? To worship the first beast, which was what? The first beast, which is the Roman Empire, whose deadly wound was healed. OK. And remember, if you watch part 1, I showed you how the deadly wound was healed with them coming back into power under the Renaissance era, which the word Renaissance means what? Rebirth. All right. Verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down, right, from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And how does that happen? All right. Well, when you look at instances like what America did with Hiroshima, Japan, dropping that atomic bomb. All right. Because after they dropped that atomic bomb, what happened? The whole world was on notice, man. Like man, we ain't damn, they did that, man. Shoot, we ain't gonna mess with them like that. All right. That's that wonders. All right. When Esau's technology. All right. Verse 14. All right. Going into that, it says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. All right. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that what? they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword, all right, and did live, all right. So part of the miracles that it's talking about is Esau's technology, all right, and the image, once again, the image of the beast represents its laws, legislation, architecture, literature, all of that, okay, etc., which goes back to First Maccabees, the 8th chapter, okay, setting themselves up, all right, back what ancient Rome did, having that one man that they dedicated every year, all right, to rule over the country, okay, and the Roman Empire has been reincarnated today as America, all right, when you understand. But anyway, verse 15, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right. Verse 16. Now here's the point. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, the brother said that this is talking about nations, but clearly this is not talking about nations. This is talking about individual people, which people can make up a nation, because all you have to do is just go into the Greek words, right? When it says both small, okay, mikros, all right, small, little, of size, hence of stature, of length, of space, age, less by birth, younger, of time, short, brief, a little while, how little, of quantity, i.e. number, amount, all right, but this would be the correct definition within context. It's talking of rank or influence, all right? Just like today, to give you an example to make it even more simpler or simple, you will have people that are of a lower status, okay, within society versus someone of a great status, which would be in this case of a celebrity of some sort, right? Which goes into the next word, small or great, right? Let's look up the word great, which is megas. All right, which means what? Great, of the external form of sensible appearance of things or persons, a particular of space and dimensions as respect, mass and weight, great, compass and extent, large, spacious, measure and height, long, stature and age, great, old, number and quantity, numerous, large, abundant, of age, the elder, used of intensity in its degrees with great effort, of the affections of emotions of the mind, of natural events powerfully affecting the senses, violent, mighty, strong. But here we have predicated of rank as belonging to persons, eminent of ability, virtue, authority, power. Okay, such as your politicians, your governments, all right, your city councils, somebody of high authority. And like I said, mention your celebrities. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you a low, status person in society or a high person in society, such as a Cardi B, all right, a LeBron James or Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, all right, you are going to be caused to take that electronic tag, all right, that charagma, right? It says, and he calls it all, both small, great, rich and poor, free and bond. So it doesn't matter if you're rich or it doesn't matter if you're poor. Like if you're in one of these third world countries, right? Free or bond, doesn't matter if you free walking around doing what you want to do or you're incarcerated in jail. This is what that's going into. To do what? To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay, because even in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, okay, which easily you guys will need to break this down. Why does it tell you in verse 10? Let's read it. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon what? All the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. And what do you think that hour of temptation is? It's the sihip, the charagma, right? Now, when you go into the word world in the Greek, it's orchimene. Okay. Orchimene, which is dealing with what? The inhabited earth. All right. The portion of the earth inhabited by the Greeks in distinction from the lands of the barbarians, the Roman Empire, all the subjects of the empire. All right. Which is funny that they put that in there because spiritually, all right, as we said, we're looking at it now. America is the Neo-Roman Empire. It's the revival of the ancient Roman Empire. Right? It says the whole inhabited earth, the world. That's the context it's talking about. All right. The inhabitants of the earth, men. Okay. Which will also include women as well. The universe, the world. So this is what it's talking about. So if it's saying that our temptation, which shall try every single person on the planet earth, therefore that will be considered as, when it says all, okay, every single individual, not just talking about nations, because let's just say if he's correct, which he's not, but let's just say if he's correct, right? Let's start at Revelation. So they brought out Revelation 18:3, right? It says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of wrath. So this was their go-to precept to prove that Revelation 13 and verse 16, when it talks about all, it's talking about nations. Well, no, because when you get, even before we read that, when you get Revelation the 14th chapter, right, what's to happen? Revelation 14:9. It says, doom for worshipers of the beast. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his charagma in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So in other words, what this is saying, if you do take it, okay, as you see it right here, and receive his mark in his forehead and his hand, if you do take it, okay, pretty much you're going to be unalive, all right, by the Most High through his son, Yahushua, and the holy angels. Fire and brimstone, which is those ICBM missiles. Now, when you jump to Revelation 18, showing you that these brothers don't study to show themselves approved. Let's just make a quick point. Let's just say Revelation 13 and 16, when it says all, both and small, is talking about nations and not individual people. Well, when you read, let's read verse 15. It says, the merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, okay, talking about these nations, all right, that made trade deals with America, Babylon the Great, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Well, wait a minute. If you're saying that Revelation 13 and 16 is talking about nations and not individual people, okay, if the nations took the MOTB, how are they able to stand afar off watching the destruction of Babylon the Great, which is America, when Revelation of 14 chapter just clearly told you that anybody, which let's go to it again, okay, let's go to it again. Okay, Revelation 14. Here's the key point. If any man, what does that mean? Did it say if all nations? No, it said if any man, showing you what? Individualism. If any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High. But wait a minute. Here in Revelation 18 chapter, you're going to have nations that are going to be standing afar off for fear of her torment and weeping and wailing, saying what? At last, that great city, Babylon the Great, which is America, that was clothed in fine linen, purple, scarlet, decked with gold, precious stones, and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off. So you mean to tell me they're not going to get Revelation of 14 chapter? That doesn't make any sense. How are they able to stand afar to see the destruction when it just told you in Revelation of 14 chapter that if any man, so it's not just talking about nations. This is talking about individualism, because we read in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, that the hour of temptation shall come upon all the world to try them. You see, the whole entire world. Now, when you go into this word mark, okay, which we break this down all the time. All right. But we got to do it again because, we got a lot of new people. The Greek word for mark is charagma. Now, they will associate this with the mark that's written in Ezekiel. I believe that's the 9th chapter, but that's not what that's talking about, because the mark in Ezekiel, which let's go there real quick since I mentioned it. All right. Ezekiel, the 9th chapter. All right. So you have here Ezekiel 9:4, and the Lord Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Now, this mark, okay, is not the same mark that's mentioned in Revelations. All right, Revelation, Salakia, the 13th chapter, because this mark, okay, is talking about, all right, those men, all right, given that spiritual mark, much like even when you go to Exodus, when the angel came during the night and the blood post of the lamb was put up on those doorposts of the Israelites' homes, so that when the angel of death came, took away the firstborn, all right, when it saw that mark on the post with that blood, it wouldn't touch it. All right, well, the same thing is going to happen. Okay, you're going to have in these last days that remnant is going to be sealed. Okay, the 144,000 is going to be sealed. Okay, they're going to, and when you read Ezekiel, the 9th chapter here, okay, this is not the same mark, because even when you go into it, all right, let's just look it up real quick. All right, Tav, desire mark, a mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. You see that? So you are exempt from the Lord's indignation. Now, when we go to the mark, the word mark in the Greek is charagma, which is a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. All right, which there's more than one Antichrist. It's not just an Antichrist, as these so-called Christians like to teach. It says the mark branded upon horses of things carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. Now, when you drop down to the Strong's definition, okay, it says here a scratch or etching, okay, a stamp as a badge of servitude or sculptured figure. All right. Now, a lot of the times you got to go deeper into these words. So if we look up, let's say you look up scratch. All right. When you look up the words in the thesaurus, a score, a braid, scrape, roughen, scuff. All right. Lacerate, groove, gash, engrave, incise. You see that? Incise. In other words, sort of like a incision, right? Let's look up etching real quick. Okay. Engraving, print, impression, block, plate, dry point, cut, wood cut, lino cut, vignette. All right. And that's what it's going into. So it's a type of cut. All right. Now, when you go into the root etymology, all right, it has karax, all right, which is a palisade, which is sort of like a sharp point that goes into the ground. All right. A pale or stake, a palisade or rampart, pales between which earth, stones, trees, and timbers are heaped and packed together. It says here in the Strong's definition, to sharpen to a point, okay, through the idea of scratching a stake. All right, so this particular device, all right, this palisade sort of thing is what's going to be your instrument used to insert that electronic tag that they want to do. And how do we know that? Because when you read the very next verse, all right, which let's grab, it says, "And that no man might buy or sell." Now, this is the question, all right, that you should be asking camps like IUIC and stuff, because they'll tell you, oh, it ain't the C-hip. Well, if it's not the C-hip, What sort of physical electronic tag are they wanting to give everyone that's going to cause them, all right, not wanting, or Salakia, that's going to cause them to be able to buy or sell? So if just by you seeing buy or sell, this is dealing with a economy based thing. It says what? Save he that hath the mark, which lets you know this is a physical thing. Or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now watch this, verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. Now when you go into this, which the elders have broken this down many times, all right, the word is chi psi stigma, all right, which when you break it down and you look up the word stigma, all right, in the Greek, it says here, a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. You see that? Pricked. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander. Branded or pricked, cut, which we looked up those words, all right, in charagma, such as scratching and etching, right, into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. Okay, when you go into the Strong's definition, it says to stick, prick, a mark incised, or punch. So this proves that it's a physical thing. So what physical device are they wanting, okay, to engrave into everybody in these last days in order for you to take part, all right, in their global reset, which is going to include that CBDC, which are going to help usher in the digital currency in order for you to buy or sell? I wonder what that would be. All right, I'm just throwing that out there. All right, and this is what happens when you get brothers like this, okay, which, you know, people will say, you know, well, you can't blame them because of their elders. Well, it's like, well, no, I blame them too, because you should not just be taking every word of what your elders say. You should be going and looking things up yourself. All right, as the scriptures tells us. Let's get 2 Timothy chapter 2. All right, in verse 15, it says, study to show thyself approved. So, you know, even though you might be under elder or whatever, all right, it's best that you still, at the end of the day, go as far as to look things up yourself, because what signs are showing us today, all right, of proof that, you know, this thing is a physical thing that they are trying to implant in everybody. Now, when you look up, just to give you an example, let's see what they have. Let's just click on this. This is from businesswire.com. It says Human CHIP Global Market Report 2022 Analysis of Market and Economic Opportunities. All right. It says the current report details the potential for human CHIP for medical purposes, and it examines the regulation requirements for using CHIPs in the U.S. and other regions. This report includes a description of the current market, regional opportunities, product benefits, and a comprehensive procedures needed for registration, along with marketing constraints on the CHIPs as medical devices. You see where they're going with this? The report also discusses products, reviews, distribution, and looks at the competitive situation regarding CHIPs as medical devices. This qualitative analysis is intended to be helpful for the pre-marketing of CHIPing and medical devices in the market. Now, just think, it'll lead from one thing being medical devices to what? To you can use it as also with because what's that Amazon One pay with wrist, or pay with hand, I should say, or your palm, right? Now, Amazon One, how are you able to pay with your palm? Meet Amazon One. You see? And if you look up here in the top left-hand corner of the screen, what do you think that little device is? What do you think that little device is? Huh? Come on now. Okay, and an incision. Okay, there it is again. All right. You obviously think this is a coincidence. Now, somebody will say, well, at the moment, the way they got it set up is you sign up and then they get your palm print and then you just scan it over there and you're registered in the center. Well, guess what? The print ain't going to be enough because eventually they're going to have to put some sort of electronic tagging device within you. I'll just say, for lack of better terms. All right. So in order for you to be tracked and traced everywhere, man, that's what it's really coming down to. Okay. But let's see. Let's get another report. Now, also, you have this gentleman here, Elon Musk. All right. Dealing with his Neuralink technology. All right. Elon Musk confident in Neuralink C-hip device expects to begin human trials in 6 months, man. There you go. All right. And this is, this is all over the news, man. Okay. All over the news, man. All right. Because think about just think about the technology alone for them to do this. All right. Within humans, what do you think is going to lead to dealing with the economy? Okay. And how you buy and sell. Right. Let's see what else. There you go. Let's see. December 27th, 2022 of last year. C-hipping global market again. All right. Dealing with this report talks about the brief general outlook of global market for human C-hipping technologies, discussions of C-hips in healthcare, human implants and their privacy and cost benefit considerations, review of major marketing constraints, product benefits, technology challenges of C-hip implants as the basis for demand. Why is that? All right. Ask yourself that coverage of the most important technological, economic and business considerations of global market for human C-hipping. See, it's they're showing you what's about to go down, man. Okay. All right. And the prophecy stated in what did Habakkuk say? Habakkuk chapter 2. All right. Straight to the point. All right. Verse 2, it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. All right. The Bible, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Okay. Because you have a lot of people saying, well, I don't think that's it or whatever, or I don't see it's right here. It's right there in your face. If you're looking, if you're searching. Okay. And the MOTB is speaking now because it's here. It says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it because it will surely come. It will not tarry, man. You see, let's get one more for good measure. That's 2000. Let's check this out. Dr. Phil. Oh yeah, that's right. Cause Dr. Phil did have a show, and what they do, this is what Esau does. All right. He does things in gradualism. So he puts it out there little bit by little bit like bait to see how people will perceive it. All right. Basically putting it out there, letting you know that this is where it's going. Okay. This is where it's going. I might have to look up that video on a different time, but let's get a little bit of commentary on this really quickly because this is important. All right. This is very important. Now, let's see here. Let's go to the commentaries really quickly and let's go to, let's see what, David has to say about it. All right. See what good old David has to say. Now, Revelation 13, verses 16 to 17, it says the economic strategy of the first beast and the second beast. Key word, economic. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, right, to receive a charagma on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the charagma or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. Now, it says here, all right, he causes all to receive a mark under the government of the beast and his associate. All will be given a mark. Without the mark, one will not be able to participate in the economy. Showing, because you have brothers out there that's teaching that the mark is it's not a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing. Okay, well, if it's a spiritual thing, we need to understand a breakdown on how does that work and how does that play into you being able to buy and sell within the economy. Because you brothers that's preaching that out there, that you're not giving the actual breakdown. You have to do more and telling the people when you're out there waking up the sheep on how this thing is going to go down. But you just saying, oh, it's a spiritual thing, right? How does that work? You're not breaking it down. You see, it says no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark in his name. Since the ancient Greek word for mark, charagma, isn't generally applied to people, some have taken this as a symbolic mark. All right. And that's people like IUIC, ISUPK, I think is another one. Okay. Because I think it was either GOCC or ISUPK. They went on a limb to say that the mark was the picture of Cesare Borgia. All right. But anyway, it says, but a literal mark needed to buy, or sell is certainly conceivable and practical. Okay. This is one of your top scholars saying this, man. It says the technology to give people a mark that enables them to buy and sell in the electronic economy is available. Right? It says there are many different ways it could happen, and such programs are proposed and tested constantly. Can't get around it, man. Even they know. So once again, what sort of electronic tag device are they planning to put into the masses of the people in order for you, all right, to participate within their one world government? Because you're going to be tracked. Okay. All right. You're going to be tracked, man. So, let's see if we can get one more. Because this is, man. Yeah, let's see what Matthew got to say. Nah, he ain't saying too much. Let's see, computer. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Okay, he didn't say too much about it. Let me see. Let's see what we can do. Fawcett and Brown. See what they got to say real quick. But sometimes it's good, to go into the commentary. All right, so it says to receive a mark literally that they should give them a mark such as brand as master stamp on their slaves and monarchs on their subjects. Soldiers voluntarily puncture their arms with marks of the general under whom they serve. Okay. Votaries of idols branded themselves with the idol's cipher or symbol. Thus, Antiochus Epiphanes branded the Jews with the ivy leaf, the symbol of Bacchus. All right. And you can look that up, and there it is. They give you the precepts. Okay. Because even back then, Antiochus Epiphanes, he tried to start his own new world order. And let's prove that really quickly. When you get First Maccabees, the first chapter, showing you that, you know, these Edomites, they've been pushing for this, but not just them. All right. You know, the other heathen nations as well. But this is First Maccabees chapter 1. And we'll start at verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, all right, that all should be one people. Okay. That all should be one people, much like what the Edomites are doing today, trying to establish a one world government. Everybody under the same, you know, ruler. All right. Everybody going to be subject to one thing. Okay. That's why the Bible says that which is then is now, and there is no new thing under the sun, roughly paraphrasing. Verse 42, and everyone should leave his laws. Okay. Like what did Klaus Schwab say? You will own nothing and be happy. Okay. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. All right. And you're going to have a lot of Israelites. Okay. Mainly our 2/3 during this time period. They're going to bow down to the image of Baal. Okay. All right. Which is this current system. All right. And they're going to worship the beast system, and they're going to take the charagma. It says, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they shall follow the strange laws of the land. And when you look at society today as a whole, do you not see the same thing happen? All right. I mean, just look at the meeting that took place in Davos, Switzerland. Okay. And all the things that, you know, these Idumeans want to do and want to put in place, man. So, you know, it's not that far fetched, man. Okay. It says contrast God's seal and name in the foreheads of his servants. All right. Which once again, that's a different mark. It says, I bear in my body the mark of the Lord Yahushua Mashiach. That is, I am his soldier and servant. The mark in the right hand and the forehead implies the prostration of bodily and intellectual powers to the beast's domination. Hence the reason why Klaus Schwab's little dominion wants to turn you into what they call transhumanism. But how do you do that? How do you turn a human being into transhumanism? By inserting a electronic tag that will give you the capabilities of doing stuff. You see? And we tap into that, you know, dealing with the C-HIP, you know, going into Elon Musk, Neuralink technology, you know, with the brain. Okay. The installation of the brain. I'll just say that. All right. So you just really have to understand, man. And, you know, if you're really going into these words and looking at it, all right, it's not going to be that hard to put two and two together, unless if you're spiritually, if you can't discern spiritually, which a lot of people can't discern the spiritually. That's why they can't see it, because you have to be completely honest with yourself. And if you're being honest with yourself, you can actually see what's coming down the pipe. All right. That is, if you're being honest with yourself. And majority of you cats ain't being honest with yourself. And we know because you either taking the bag. OK. Or if you haven't taken the bag. All right. You holding out on something else. Something else didn't happen to you. All right. So, yeah, man, I think that's all, you know, that pretty much wraps up Revelation, the 13th chapter as a whole. All right. So, Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, you guys were edified. I'm your brother Montezabat. Until the next time. Shalom.